Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Love Your Vibe show, where it's a revolution of evolution. I am Elvira and I'm here with
Eleanor Hayward.
and we are super excited to be part of Skyward TV and Hopeful Radio. They believe that the spiritual path to mental wellness is a great way to go, and so do we. We are all about our unique personal development solution, SOUL, and we are excited to be sharing with you all sorts of amazing people that are doing amazing things, such as Julie Rose, who is joining us today. She is a spiritual life coach with the Peaceful Paradigm, and she is also a miracle mindset mentor with the Love Your Vibe transformation, trained in part by this lovely lady over here. So, hi, Julie. Yay. So, Julie, we are so excited that you're here today, and we want you to announce what is today because it's a very special day for you.
International Day of Peace.
Yay! Love it. Love it. So Julie, as you are, you're part of our team, so you know all about the Miracle Magnet movement. We talk about all modalities matter. So we want to learn more about your modalities and how you get to serve in the world. And we're going to ask you questions about what it's like to be a miracle mindset mentor and what you like best about that. So let's start with the Peaceful Paradigm and tell us more about your modalities so we can learn more about you.
Thank you. Well, I led a life filled with utter chaos, actually from the moment I was born.
Oh.
And I was a people pleaser, a very good little girl, and did whatever people wanted of me, and I lost who I was. And over time, I was able to overcome that and be able to break the chains of living for other people, in part, actually mostly in part, through the Love Your Vibe transformation. What I do in Peaceful Paradigm is I help people remember who they really are. And once you are living with who you really are, you can live in peace. And by living in peace, you're creating a ripple throughout the world, which in turn gives world peace.
Wow, that's so beautiful, Julie. Oh, love it, love it. So when you do your work with people one-on-one or in group, so I'm going to assume that as a spiritual life coach, you're working with people one-on-one, Julie, is that right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, I work with people one-on-one, and I honor their own spiritual beliefs and add a dash of my own to the mix. I'm very respectful of what people believe or do not believe and custom tailor a program suited to them, because I believe we all have spirituality that we can use, and it may come in different forms or have different labels, and it's all good.
Yeah, awesome. That's so beautiful. So I'm curious to know, like, who is an ideal client for you? Who is a divine client? Like the kind of person that you would love to work with and attract more of those people. Can you describe that person to us?
So my ideal client, real not perfect. I was going to say climate.
That's what we love to say.
Oh my God, we could go into global warming, but no, that's not what we're talking about today. My ideal client is somebody who is probably lived a bit of life, at least 35 years or more. I'm past midlife. And it's somebody who has a huge heart, and in serving other people, they've lost who they are. And we help them get back to who they really are and to claim it and live in authenticity. And there's a way to do that without feeling like we're hurting other people.
Wow, awesome. Yeah, because when we live authentically, we are living, our best life. Our health gets better, our relationships get better, our wealth gets better, right? Because we're not pretending to be something we're not, and I'm super passionate about this. You can tell, right? When people are living authentically and on purpose, they're living aligned, as I like to say, aligned, authentic, fully self-expressed. Mm-hmm. And they just have a vibration about them, and good things find them, and I've noticed this over and over. How about you?
Yes, absolutely. And my heart goes out to people who are suffering from inauthenticity, that we discussed that this is an effect of trauma.
Yeah.
That causes us to disconnect from our soul. and causes us to wear masks. Our ego comes out to protect us in different ways because our nervous system is constantly on threat analysis, right?
Yeah.
So how do you work with clients with that perspective, Julie?
Well, what I help people do is find out why they're wearing a mask. I mean, yes, the obvious is fear, but it goes deeper than that. What was ingrained in them as children that they may not be aware of. Like my parents went through a very traumatic incident when I was 2 years old. A semi truck backed into our car, and my 9-month-old baby sister perished. My mother was told she'd never walk again, and they told my dad he was going to die. And thankfully, both of my parents survived, but their trauma that they embodied, because they didn't believe in getting therapy back then. I'm of a certain age where that was basically reserved for people that were diagnosed with mental illness. And so their way was to not talk about it, or just say, pray to Jesus. If you go to church 3-4 times a week, then you'll feel better. And yes, that did serve them to a point, but I think that a lot of that trauma got shoved down underneath, and then it was passed on to me. So here I was, a little girl wanting to comfort mommy and daddy because there was just a feeling that they had gone through something really terrible. Wow. And I did whatever I could to please them. And that's not their fault. They were wonderful parents and they did the best they could. But I taught myself to be a chameleon in all kinds of situations. As I grew older, I could be friends with the kids in athletics. I could be friends with the kids that were artsy. I would just like meld and blend with whoever I was talking to and not really be me. And that led to a life of, not a whole life, obviously, because I'm doing great now, but led to me being in abusive relationships and actually being taken advantage of by con artists. So I was just people pleasing left and right. Who do I need to be to make you feel happy?
Right. Oh my gosh. Wow. That is powerful, Julie. And yet, your story, it is unique, but it's not that unique in the sense that there's a lot of people pleasers out there. There's a lot of people that have had to, I like to say, pretzel into whoever they needed to be in order to be loved and accepted. And, we're raised by people that do the best they can, just like your parents, lovely people. However, we as kids feel we have to do certain things, and we're, this is what's really interesting for me is like we make these decisions as little people and we continue with these decisions for the rest of our lives instead of reevaluating, like, is this really serving me? Is this, thought or this mindset serving me? And, we end up like, if we do the inner work, we can let go of the old beliefs, right? And this is what we do with the Love Your Vibe transformation. And I'm sure you do it one-on-one as a spiritual life coach. And it's just so common, right? So what would you like to say to someone that's out there? Let's say they've been people pleasing just to be accepted, just to be loved, just like me, right? Were you there too, or not? So yeah. So yeah, what would you say to people, let's say, that have been really affected by the church, right? Whatever church, they've gone to, and they are, they're not happy. They're living out of alignment. They're not being their authentic selves. They're just getting by through life. Maybe they're working a day job. They live to maybe party on the weekend, or, I want to say, like, they're not living a full life. They're really just getting by. So what would you say to those people, Julie?
Well, I would ask them some questions. I would find out if their church is supporting them and who they are authentically or not, because each person, has an individual case. Like I know some people whose lives are enriched by a church because not all of them are authoritarian. As for the ones that felt they had to be inauthentic to match some sort of image that the church wants them to portray with them, I would ask them, what did you want to be as a child? Like, And I'm wearing my Barbie pink, by the way.
Oh,
I'm
love
practicing my
it.
inner child from our mentors retreat.
Yeah.
I would say,
Oh,
what did you want to be? See, I wanted to be an actress and I wanted dancing lessons.
yeah.
And my family said, no, you are going to take piano lessons. You are not going to take dancing lessons. And my parents weren't against dance. I mean, my parents were pretty easygoing. It's just that they went to a very strict church until I was 12 years old before we converted to Catholicism again. But they were worried about what the people within the strict church would say. So of course I couldn't have dancing lessons.
Wow.
And to this day, I'm not a dancer per se, but I don't care. Move my body, have some fun. You don't need lessons to have fun. And I'm a poet and I didn't know it.
That's
You
so
two
good.
bring out my inner child. So
I love it.
yeah, I just couldn't be me. Oh, and my mother and the minister's wife wanted me to play organ in the church.
Oh, did you do that?
Once.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't do it anymore. I wouldn't. And boy, did I get yelled at. I didn't even like playing piano or organ. It's just that I was told I had to.
Yeah. Anything you're forced to do, it's like, don't effing tell me what to do, right? So yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I felt. My dad wanted me to do piano because he never had a chance to do piano, and he forced me, and I was like, no. But here's what's interesting. I kind of play it now. I chord, right? I just accompany myself because I'm a singer, but oh my God, I would have loved to have like really good piano, solid piano. But when you're pushed to do something, you just like your ego kicks in, right?
Yes.
So yeah.
Resisting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the Miracle Mindset Mentor ship that you're a relatively new grad. So Eleanor, I'd love you to ask Julie some questions about that.
What's your favorite part about being a Miracle Mindset Mentor, Julie?
Oh gosh, the community. When we meet, I just leave feeling so glowy. And no, it's not all positive and light and rainbows. I mean, we get down to the nitty gritty and talk about our shadows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the glowy feeling is from feeling completely seen and safe, supported, celebrated. I mean, I just feel like I'm held in this warm embrace. And to see participants that had their cameras off open up and just pour their hearts out, it's real, almost indescribable.
Wow.
I think everybody needs it.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, Julie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, what you have co-created with Jennifer and now it's become the foundation of this global movement, the Miracle Magnet movement. It sometimes I think about it and it makes me cry. Like I just can't believe that, I get to be a part of this with these incredible people. And you're our one of our first international mentors, you and Pan Vera. And you came up to our retreat just a couple of weeks ago, and it was so amazing getting to hug you. And just you're such a part of this beautiful movement and our mission to help heart-centered humans do their inner work, so we can all live aligned, authentic, fully self-expressed lives and have heaven on earth. Because when we feel in these small containers, when we feel, we heal and we reveal who we truly are. And that to me is heaven on earth. So, I mean, I can't think of living for anything better than that. How about you, Julie?
I can't. Aren't we all looking for heaven?
Yeah.
But on that level, though, tell us more. You mentioned the shadow, Julie. What does that mean to you, and how do we explore that?
So the shadow are things that are in our memory bank that may be holding us back. They may be presenting themselves as, I'm a PTSD victor. I have not had a panic attack since the Love Your Vibe transformation.
Yay. Me too.
Which is amazing,
Yeah.
totally amazing. I'll admit, I
Miracle.
came close to having one, a few weeks ago,
I remember. Yes.
but I'm talking that maybe I felt it coming on for maybe like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And then I remembered who I am.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm better than this. I'm better than this panic disorder.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm loved.
Beautiful.
I'm part of this beautiful community.
Yeah.
Spirit is within me. We're all spirit.
So beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so tell us, like for people who are watching who might struggle with some mental illness, some coping disorders, maybe they've got like a substance use challenge,
Numbing out
and coping, because this world can be really tough for people. And whether it's genetic or whether it's due to abuse or neglect. So tell us a little bit more about how that might impact the shadow, and how do we shift that?
Well, from personal experience, my way of numbing out was online shopping. When my mother passed away, I think it was 16 days after a cancer diagnosis, it was quite a shock. I sat online and I just ordered all these clothes, silly clothes. I don't even think I have them anymore. I think they all got donated. It was just, but that's how I numbed out. And then Netflix over and over. And some people, when they're going through things, they might numb out through cigarettes, alcohol,
food.
smoking. Not saying anything against those things being used in moderation. I'm talking about numbing out. People numb out from in all sorts of different ways, which may or may not be destructive to them. And what we do is bring the shadows up and we look at them. We shine the light on the shadows and bring the shadows to the light. And that light overcomes the shadow, so we feel less of a need to numb out.
Oh, so beautiful. Isn't it great?
There's the glowy.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, because like so many people, like in my perspective, like shame is like the epidemic in this world that we don't really talk about. That it's used as a tool to control people, to shame other people. That's Catholicism, you know.
Yeah.
So that being said, not everybody has that experience, but I think that's a very consistent experience. And so shame really holds us back, and it makes us feel like we're not good enough, that we're bad, that we're wrong. But when we can share that, when we can identify how that feels in our bodies and share that with other people, and they witness us in a very non-judgmental way, that it evaporates a little bit. Yes. Like you said, the light shines on it, people witness you in it, and
it's not shadow anymore.
It's not shadow anymore. And then we can integrate that, and then we recognize that emotion when it comes up. Yeah. And we're able to say, "Oh, okay, I see you.
I see you."
Elaine Marie Brown.
To
you.
To you.
And we can have fun with it, because it can be really dark when, you know, I had an issue last week that, you know, childhood stuff came up after our conference or retreat, and it took me a while to process that, and being seen and heard was an issue in my family, and I had to go there, and Elvira and Jennifer held beautiful space for me to just cry. And that wasn't easy, and I felt like I was back there as a little kid, but that's the work that those instances are fewer and farther between, that I feel like I'm aligned in my career, that I have more autonomy, that I can say no to those substances and not feel like I have to indulge. I can have more willpower to follow through. And like, just as an example of, once you embody your shadow, that you can live more in the light. So would you agree, Julie?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's not about stuffing our shadows away and pretending they don't exist. It's about not so much joining with them, but examining them. And not letting the shadow overcome our light. The shadows may come out occasionally, but then we can turn our light back on it by having a good cry, or talking to another mentor or a coach. Meditate. I mean, there's just so many ways to have the shadow go back into the corner.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so beautiful. Yeah. Because the way I see it, is our authentic self, our light self is our true self. But our shadow self came out to protect us. And it's basically an expression of ego, right? Yes. Right, Eleanor?
A defense mechanism.
And so we all have that. And to love ourselves and love our shadow, this is the work that I've done. I've actually learned to love my shadow so that I can love other people's shadows, so I can hold space for their shame storms. You know what I mean? Like, this is what Brene Brown talks about, right? When you're in a shame storm, oh, I'm getting chills. Not everyone is allowed to hear your shame storm. Like no one, like, you need to make sure that you share your shame with the right people, because there's some people that can't hold space for shame. But if people have done their inner work, they can hold space for shame because they've learned to love their own shadow, and they can love someone else's shadow. And then when that person feels loved in spite of their shadow, they can come out into the light and live there more often than not. Have you found that yourself, Julie?
Oh, 100%. I mean, especially within the Love Your Vibe transformation, I really can express anything I'm feeling, anything I'm going through, and space is held for me. Nobody's saying, you need to do this, you need to do that, or, oh, shame on you. It's just, I hear you. I love you. You're safe.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've got all our answers inside. I mean, as a coach, we all, believe that everybody, is a sovereign being and has all the answers inside. And, we don't try to fix anybody because nobody's broken. Right. And we just hold space that their divine self, their true self, their authentic self, their light self will come out when the shadow is witnessed. And it's such a beautiful process. Like I can't think of a better way to live the rest of my life than helping people do this inner work, because we're all geniuses. We all have that light that's within us that, if it is fostered well, it can grow into a big giant flame and change the world. So
flaming.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it is so beautiful to talk with you. Like, I just feel glowy and I got chills as we're talking. Like, it's just so beautiful. So what would you say to someone who is on the fence right now, Julie, and they're like, okay, this sounds interesting. I'm not so sure. Is there anything that you would recommend to them to get them off the fence?
Definitely. I would say take advantage of a free connection, discovery call, whatever you call it, with Elvira, Eleanor, myself, any of the mentors. And we're not in the job of convincing you to join us.
No.
In
that's
fact,
a low vibration.
We might have something else to recommend.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, exactly. There's people where I've actually, after talking to them, I said, I think you should follow this person on YouTube, because sometimes people aren't ready for this deep work, and that's okay. They'll come back when they're ready.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no forcing people. If they're not ready, and they're curious and they're courageous to go into that shadow, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It does take a degree of openness, willingness, courage, curiosity. And if you have, I find that that's the magic recipe you'll get through it from there. But sometimes resistance comes up and there's a lot of fear to be like, I'm doubtful.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical.
That's the ego coming out.
And that's the ego trying to protect you.
But
you need to feel safe. And that's why it's important to be with a practitioner who you feel safe with.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Definitely. And I would say any of us would help somebody, whether they want to join us or not, helping them and that referring them to something that better suits them for right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're really good at that. We've been trained by A.G. Morishita. Shout out to him, our mentor. Yes. So beautiful, Julie. So where can people find you? And we'll put all of your information in the show notes. But tell us how we can find you and what's coming up for you. How people can work with you.
So it's peacefulparadigm.com. And on Facebook, I'm under Julie Rose, and I know there's a lot of them, but look for a profile picture of a bunch of glowy ladies with a redhead with big hair somewhere in there. You'll see that profile picture if you want to private message instead of going on the website. You can also find all the mentors profiles on elvirahopper.com/bundle.
Yep.
And to work with me privately, the first thing that we must do is have what I call a tea talk, because I drink tea all day long, and I'm going to drink tea and talk with you. And we're going to see if it better suits you to work with me one-on-one, to work with the Love Your Vibe transformation, or maybe you don't want to work with anybody right now and
YouTube
you want
videos.
some recommendations for books or a podcast or website. That's fine. I have probably about 12 years of personal development courses, and so I feel very confident that I can lead you to something that will help you, whether or not it's with me or the Love Your Vibe transformation. We're here to serve. My goal in life is to help you find inner peace. It's not about me. It's about you and how you can have inner peace. Because when you feel peaceful, I've done my job that I was put on earth to do.
Oh, yay, peace. Amazing. Thank you so much. So now feels like a good time to close down. Is that okay? Awesome. So so I just want to say to everyone watching, please reach out to Julie if you're like, oh my God, I got to talk to this woman, please reach out to her. She's amazing. She won't bite. She nibbles a little bit, but she is so much fun. So if you're into fun, like, this is why we love doing this together, because, when we join together in small communities to do this inner work, it's not as hard as doing it on your own or in therapy. People have told us this is better than therapy. This is better than landmark education. This is better than Tony Robbins. And I really take that with so much, humbleness, because I did, therapy. I did Tony Robbins. I did landmark. And I know that they've helped me at various points, but ours is a more gentle, rain-soaked, divine feminine energy that is not in your face. And so if you've, had other forms of personal development, you haven't had this, so I just really want to encourage people to see that there's other ways of doing this inner work. It doesn't have to be toxic masculine. It can be divine feminine, and it can be fun. This is what I say: if it ain't fun, I'm done. Right. So, even if you're examining shadows, you can still have fun. Right. So I know you're fun. We're fun. Everybody on the team is fun. So I just wanted to add that. Right. But I'm so happy that you were able to join us, especially on this beautiful International Peace Day. Was that the what you mentioned earlier? Okay, International Peace Day.
Yes.
And it's just so beautiful. So you can check out Eleanor and I as well in the show notes. You've got Eleanor's link tree, my link tree. We've got our podcast that we have on all podcast platforms. I have 2 YouTube shows. There's all sorts of freebies in there on mine. I know, Eleanor, you have some great stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And
join the Miracle Magnet Zone on our Facebook
Yes,
group.
thank you.
Where we have daily insight and inspiration from our team, and really grateful to Skyward TV and Hopeful Radio, because they are an authority on this spiritual path to mental wellness.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Eleanor.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time on another episode of the Love Your Vibe Show. It's a revolution of evolution. Take care, guys.
Many
Bye-bye.
blessings.